Present.
Vice Chair Lewis,
Present.
Chair Thomas,
Present.
you have a quorum present.
Well, let's move on then. Has everybody had an opportunity? We'll give Mr. Woods, you were here at the January meeting. We'll give you a minute or two to look over the minutes for that meeting.
Okay.
And then what I would like to do when you're finished with that and we get the minutes approved, I was hoping to be able to give you, Mr. Woods, and you, Dr. Ford, an opportunity to just briefly identify yourself and introduce yourself to the group. So as soon as you've had an opportunity to review the minutes, let us know.
Thank you.
You had an opportunity to review them?
Yep.
Okay, has everybody had an opportunity now to review the minutes?
Yes.
Anybody want to make a motion at this point in time? I did note myself one change that needed to be made, but does anybody have any corrections or modifications that they want to talk about?
Yeah.
Anyone? Well, the only change I saw in there was it indicated that Mr. Young was present on January 9th, at our January meeting when we held that hearing. And it's my memory that he wasn't there, and I talked to a couple other people and that was their collective memory. But other than that one little typo correction, that would be it. Anybody want to make a motion to approve the minutes as amended with that one change?
No need to change. Okay. A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the minutes as amended are being approved. Before we move into unfinished business, there are a couple little things I'd like to discuss. First of all, Ms. Spivey and I, we circulated a copy of the meeting schedule for the rest of the year. We thought that would be helpful to Dr. Ford and Mr. Woods. And what I would like you to know is that in the past, on occasion, we've had some trouble getting a quorum together for a meeting, and that occurred in February where we were unable to meet. And what I would like the two new members to know is that if in advance, you know that you're going to have a problem with the meeting date, if you bring that up at a prior meeting, we can discuss moving it. We have done that in the past. We can't always do it to accommodate one member, but the goal is to always have a quorum, and to have a quorum and hold a meeting, we have to have 4 people present. So you might want to mark these dates on your calendar when you get back to your office. If you notice a problem with them, with a date or two, let us know and we'll try to accommodate everybody. Again, the goal is attendance at each meeting. And it's not really just to have 4 people present. The more people that are present, pardon me? Okay. The more people that are present at a meeting, the more input we get in terms of different opinions, and the more open and free the discussions are sometimes. So that's our goal. The other thing that I would like to do is I'd like to give Mr. Woods an opportunity. We had a hearing held on at the January meeting, so we really didn't have an opportunity. We didn't have our other new member. We'd like to give you an opportunity today, you and Dr. Ford, to introduce yourself and just tell us very briefly a little bit about yourself and how you come to be serving on this board.
Okay, my name is Frank Woods. I am now a retired international representative with UAW. I served in many capacities at the UAW, contract negotiations, arbitration, mediations, politics. I mean, it's pretty much civil rights, pretty much everything I did there. Father of two grown and one granddaughter. That's real brief as I can get.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, welcome aboard. Welcome
Thank
aboard.
you. Thank you.
Dr. Ford?
Yes, good morning. I'm Dr. Ford. I am a clinical forensic neuropsychologist. I also work with the prosecutor's office as a law clerk for about 3 years. And so it's my pleasure to be here and to with this wonderful team.
Well, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard on behalf of all of us. Well, I want to thank you very much. If you have any questions as the meeting goes on today, either of you, let us know. With that, I think we're ready to move into unfinished business. And the unfinished business that we put on the agenda for today is an update from the commission staff regarding the proposed agenda. I have been told that that microphone may not be working today. Yeah, if you come to the table at the end, you could turn that microphone on and you could give us an update.
Good morning to this honorable body. My name is Mary Parisian. I'm Assistant Commission Counsel. It's my understanding that the ethics ordinance that has been proposed by this body was received and it's under review currently.
Is there any way that you'd be able to tell us a little bit about the review process and what that's going to entail?
Sure, I myself am not reviewing it. I was not assigned that. But the review process as a whole is if this body submits a document, it goes to our clerk and then it comes to us in a system in which policy receives it, fiscal receives it, we receive it, and legal, I should say legal receives it. And then we need to review it and ensure the legality, make sure everything is sound, things of that nature.
Okay. Well, does anybody have any comments? Because I'd like to make a couple comments, but I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Lewis, the vice chair, because we have some concerns about how long the process took with the last proposal that this board made before her and I were even serving on this board.
Certainly.
So do you have any comments?
I mean, just to follow up on how long it may take, the process, if you could give us some timelines.
Sure. So
So through the
we serve at
chair,
the pleasure- Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I apologize. Through the chair, this is Felicia, Commission Counsel. If I may respond to
Yes.
that.
Yes, you may.
So thank you, Mary, for the information that you just provided to this honorable body. As indicated, your proposed revisions have been received. The process is that my office will be the primary staff that will review it. Once it's reviewed, there will be some discussions with the chairperson and other commissioners to determine how the chair wants to proceed with the matter. As I previously indicated last year in one of the meetings, I'm not exactly sure internally how that process will work. Eventually, it will make it to a commission committee. I don't know if there will be discussions with your body before it makes it to that committee. But that determination will not be made until all of the revisions have been reviewed by staff. And as indicated, they're currently under review.
All right. Well, I would just like to make this offer. Ms. Lewis and I both served on the subcommittee along with Mr. Schaefer, who's present today, in working up those proposals. A lot of the proposals actually go back to the prior proposal that was made some years ago by the board as it existed at that time. And what Ms. Lewis and I want to make clear is this. In the event that someone at the commission, whether it's staff or a commission member, is reviewing our work, what we would like to do is make ourselves available. If anyone believes that some explanation is needed concerning a proposed change. There's just a lot of things that haven't been updated regarding the ethics ordinance since it was first adopted. For example, we don't have the ability to compel witnesses to come before before this body to testify. If they're going to come in, they're going to come in on their own because somebody's given them a call, either the complainant or us, and ask them to come in. Another thing is we don't have the ability to issue an oath to people that appear before us. When a complainant files their complaint with the board, they have to sign it under oath, and presumably they take an oath to tell the truth. But when witnesses appear, we don't have that authority. There's just so many changes that we believe systemically will make this board more thorough, more efficient, and more able to carry out its function. So I think that Ms. Johnson and you, ma'am, should know that I have asked at the January meeting that this type of update be put on the agenda for every meeting going forward. It's going to be on for the April meeting and the May meeting and the June meeting. We're very interested in this. Too many times we have found that when complainants file a complaint, they might have an attorney representing them. And if they have an attorney representing them, they're able to present a pretty good case. But when it comes to our counsel having the tools that he needs to compel people to come before us, a lot of that is lacking. So I cannot overemphasize. I don't want to talk too much about it, but it can't be overemphasized. We need the tools that are being requested in the proposed changes. So I guess what we'll be doing is getting another update from you in April. Hopefully you'll be present and Ms. Johnson will be present as well. But thank you. I want to thank both of you for the update you've given us today. Anybody else have any questions or comments for Ms. Johnson while she's on Zoom? All right, then we can move on now to new business. New business, we have a communication dated January 19, 2023 from Ms. Jacqueline Jackson Broxton regarding our decision that was rendered at the January meeting. So what I would like to do is begin by asking Mr. Longstreet to give us what his assessment of that correspondence is, as well as a recommendation regarding what, if anything, we should do in response to her letter.
In regards to the letter that was received by Ms. Jackson Broxton, it was basically a scathing review of our decision that we made in her case. She asked if there was a method of appeal, but basically it was complaining that she didn't feel that we did her any justice or we didn't do her fairly. It's my position that this board did the right thing. We fairly reviewed the evidence. We fairly reviewed both sides of the story. We found that there was no violation of the ethics code, and simply Ms. Jackson Broxton needs to respect the decision of this board. And there's nothing else to discuss as far as I'm concerned.
Open for discussion.
I totally agree. I totally agree. We asked questions over and over again,
Yes.
but that she failed to answer.
Well, let me ask this, Mr. Woods. I think that when we get a letter like that, we have to respond, even if we let the people know that we are not going to be doing anything further. In a very diplomatic way, explain to her that we gave her a hearing. I will tell the rest of the board members that Mr. Woods and I talked to Ms. Broxton after the hearing in January. And she, in a very diplomatic way, was requesting a transcript of the hearing. And I told her, I explained, Mr. Woods and I explained to her, we don't prepare transcripts like that. That's not part of our duties, but it's on YouTube. So you can take the YouTube tape and take it to a court reporter or somebody that transcribes that type of proceeding. And I really would have to say at this juncture that I agree with Mr. Woods and Mr. Longstreet's position. Anybody else want to make any comments?
I mean, just reading that she is asking for a response to her questions, which I think is just reiterating our process that we followed, our ordinances, and then, you know, what we decided in January, just so to clear up any clarification that she needs from what she requested. I'm just looking here. She just asked for a timely response to questions I've asked, so.
Well, There is one thing in there. She has requested that we let her know if there's any appeal process. And as far as I know, I actually reviewed the ethics ordinance when this came in. There is no appeal. But I think you could inform her of that. Perhaps I might suggest if all the members agree, perhaps you could put together a short letter, Mr. Longstreet, very short, telling her that the decision was a final decision. There's no appellate remedy. We're sorry, or we regret that you were not satisfied with our evaluation of your complaint. And since Mr. Woods has made some comments here today, perhaps him, Ms. Lewis, and I could review your letter and we could get it out before even the next meeting, because she's looking for a prompt reply. And this was really up before us if we had had a February meeting. So would anybody have any problem with making a motion concerning that Mr. Longstreet do a letter and he submit it to Mr. Woods, myself, and Ms. Lewis for approval, a short letter?
Make a motion that he submits a letter for our approval. Myself, Ms. Lewis, and Mr. Longstreet can get that out as soon as possible.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The next item under new business is the communication dated February 17, 2023, received from Ms. Tangela Ward about a homicide relating to her family member that occurred in the Wayne County Jail. When this communication came in, it's my memory that I had suggested that complaint forms be sent out to her so that she could file a complaint, and as well as our instruction sheets, which tells a potential complainant what they have to do to file a legitimate complaint. It has to be notarized that the complaint has to fall under our jurisdiction. Could you please give us a report on that concerning whether we ever received any further word from her?
We did, there was a correspondence sent out by Ms. Spivey on February 23rd, 2023, providing Ms. Ward with a complaint form and instruction on how to file the complaint. We have yet to receive any complaint in regards to this death of Mr. Samuel Ward from Tangela Ward since that date. There has been no additional correspondence.
So nothing needs to be done at this time by the board?
Not until Ms. Ward files a complaint. There's nothing for us to do, even though we are aware of the situation. We don't have current jurisdiction over that matter because we have not received a formal complaint.
And I'm sure that Ms. Spivey and as well as yourself will notify us if and when we receive further communication from her.
Yes.
All right, then. I don't see a need for any motion on that. I think we've discussed it and we can just move on. Item E on our agenda for today says such other matters as may be properly submitted before the board. Does anyone have any other matters that they want to bring up or discuss today? I don't hear anybody saying aye or me. So I guess we're ready to move on. Subparagraph F on page 2, public comments. Are there any public comments or any people lined up to speak?
All lines have been asked to unmute if you wish to speak. No emails have been received.
Nobody waiting on Zoom?
No hands are up.
That moves us on to item G, and that would be adjournment. Does anybody want to make a motion in that regard?
I don't jump in.
Motion to adjourn. Do we have a second or a second? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? The ayes have it. We don't have any public comments. We'll adjourn for today. Mr. Woods, Mr. Ford, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, well.